Many professionals preparing for business analyst role apply to companies like Amazon, assuming that every BA role is more or less the same. Recently, one of my alumni, Shia, helped us curate and decode her actual Amazon business analyst interview experience and types of questions she went through during the hiring process. And after analyzing both the interview process and actual Amazon BA job description, one thing became very clear. Amazon BA hiring is heavily analytics and data driven. This is not a traditional functional business analyst role where the focus is mainly on BRD, FRD, requirement gathering, agile ceremonies, and stakeholder workshop. So in today's video, I want to decode the actual Amazon BA interview process, the type of skills company expect, what kind of candidate aligned with this role, and the biggest mistake candidate make while applying blindly without understanding the job description properly. Let us start by analyzing a real-time job description for Amazon business analyst opportunity. All right, so we can observe, if you go through the description, an ideal candidate for this role, it says, look at those keywords. Relevant experience in data analytics, working with large data sets to extract and transform data using various tools and technologies. Observe, it says, will transform data into actionable business information and will make it readily accessible to the stakeholder worldwide. Should be passionate about finding root cause, trend, and pattern and how they impact business. Will use data to support ideas, drive actionable outcome, provide unique ways to present data and information in a way easy to consume format. And if you pretty much go through the, a day in the life of a business analyst with Amazon, this talks about what are the expectations, which is revolving a lot on the data side. And now if you observe here, look at those expectations, the basic qualification. It is expecting you to have the knowledge on SQL, data visualization tools like Tableau, and then it is also expecting these preferred qualification. So observe this. Experience in data mining, ETL, using database in a business environment with large scale, complex database, pretty much SQL, Python are equivalent at all. Now, I'm very sure most of you might be observing that this is not a kind of a BA role that most of us are applying for. Because when it comes to your expertise, maybe most of you have good understanding on BRDs, FRDs, PRDs, and those relevant skills. That is where it is becoming very important for all of you to compare between a functional business analyst versus analytics focused BA, the kind of opportunity we just observed with Amazon type role. So if we observe the given parameters and we compare functional BA with the BA cum DA, the Amazon opportunity we had, the parameters being primary focus, daily work, key skill expected, problem solving style, stakeholder interaction, deliverable, technical expectation, typical company fit, tool commonly used, and what companies evaluate more. So if you observe, functional business analyst role is a lot focused on the people skills, where the expectations are a lot on the documentation side, requirement gathering, requirement elicitation. And what are companies' expectation? You should have a very decent communication skill, requirement clarity, stakeholder handling, and all. But if you compare this functional BA with the Amazon type BA role, this is focusing a lot on data and analytics. That is where it's a BA cum D opportunity. So again, you can go through this comparison table later point in time. But I want all of us to understand that when it comes to Amazon BA interview hiring process, let's try to go over this one by one. Look at this. The first round. This is a purely technical and analytical validation. So the first round was with a business intelligence engineer with Amazon. So this someone had interviewed, shared the candidate for this opportunity, where the entire focus, it says, discuss previous work experience in whichever domain that she worked, followed by the contribution in analytics, which means the first round is focusing a lot on the analytics and the technical validation, followed by highlighting the initial experience at Amazon, whatever she previously worked as a catalog analyst, a lot to focus on root cause analysis, team performance. And then 30 minutes, they have asked question a lot on the SQL concepts, including jointers, window function, subqueries and all. So again, to conclude, round one is focusing a lot on the technical and analytical validation. Now, if you go through the round two, that is where the round two is focusing a lot. So let us first try to observe what are the kind of question that was asked. So it can, it begin with an introduction and overall explanation of the previous work experience that she had, followed by the experience with previous domain, pretty much the same things that was asked, initially in the first round also. And then this focused a lot on the behavioral questions that involved. If you look at the question, tell me about a time when your curiosity led to an unexpected insight. How did it help your client and what was the measurable impact or saving? Tell me about a time you had to build trust with difficult stakeholder and how to manage this situation. Describe a time, personal or professional, when you failed to meet others' expectation and how you handled it afterward. So if we are able to observe, this round two is focusing a lot on problem solving and the stakeholder management. And team, to solve or to respond to behavioral question, we need to have good understanding on one of our framework. I call it STAR framework. So STAR, it stands for situation, task, action, and result. So we can come up with another video on how we can, come up with a behavioral or situational round, part of using the STAR framework. Now moving on to the round third. So round third, again, this interview was conducted by a senior product manager at Amazon. Again, it started with the introduction and the prior experience, again, whatsoever she had with the previous role with Amazon and all. And now this focused on describe a situation where something was outside your responsibility, but you still took initiative. Tell me a time you provided a simple solution to a complex problem, and tell me about a time you took quick action despite having incomplete data. Now, if you're observing, round three is end-to-end focusing a lot on ownership and the decision making. And when it comes to round four, which was conducted by the senior product manager at Amazon, this round was a lot more on the conversational and on a reflective tone. What does that mean? Look at the question being asked in the final round. So again, a quick introduction. What was the reason behind the first resignation and why you want to rejoin Amazon? What are top two favorite Amazon leadership principle and how you have demonstrated them in your work? Tell me about a time you went above and beyond to meet customer or client expectation. Where do you see yourself after 2 years down the line, and what daily steps are you taking to achieve those goals? So if you are observing the round four, this is a complete focus on the cultural fit and the long-term alignment that companies are expecting with Share. So if you again try to break round one, round two, round three, round four. So round one again was focusing a lot on the technical analytic validation. Round two was focusing on problem solving and stakeholder management. Round three focus on ownership and the decision making. And round four, culture fit and the long-term alignment. So after analysis, we get to observe business analyst role is not the same. And if I talk about Amazon BA hiring, it was a lot focused on data and analytics side, where the companies are trying to check ownership, communication, stakeholder handling, and the most important, culture fit. So before applying to any BA job, make sure you have a clear understanding of the job description, the company's expectation, and the type of BA role you are actually trying to apply. And if you found this interview decoding valuable, comment down which company interview process you want us to analyze next. We will be coming up with more real interview process breakdown and interview question every week. So make sure you subscribe, turn on the notification bell so that you don't miss the upcoming videos. I will see you in the next one. Thank you.